Vera,
Here.
Councilmember O'Halloran,
Here.
Councilmember Albertson,
Here.
and Councilmember Perez,
Here.
and Councilmember Vaughn.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all present.
All right, thank you. First up, we have a proclamation, Education and Sharing Day proclamation.
Okay, proclamation, whereas a quality education is one of the significant foundations for the continuing success of our state, our country, and our society at large. And in the Renton community, we strive for the betterment of all through education and sharing. And whereas by providing opportunities for an excellent education for all, especially children, we can create hope for a brighter, kinder, and more united and prosperous future in the lives of so many. And whereas one of the leading global advocates for the advancement of education, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Schneerson, stressed the importance of moral and ethical education as the bedrock of humanity and the hallmark of a healthy society, and strongly urged that education be reinforced by the inculcation of strong moral values. And whereas in recognition of the Rebbe's outstanding and lasting contributions toward improvements in world education, morality, and acts of charity, he was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal, and the United States Congress has established his birth date as a national day to raise awareness and strengthen the education of our children. And whereas for more than 40 years, the President of the United States has recognized and honored the Rebbe's vision each year on that day by proclaiming it Education and Sharing Day USA. And whereas this current global pandemic has disrupted traditional models of education across our nation, while also motivating a focus on core values beyond academic achievement, and whereas we can nurture the unity of diverse peoples through encouraging increased acts of goodness and kindness, knowing that even a single positive act can make a major impact in this world. Now, therefore, I, Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim April 12, 2022 to be Education and Sharing Day in the City of Renton, and I encourage all government officials, educators, volunteers, and citizens to reach out to those within your communities and work to create a better, brighter, and more hopeful future for all. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton be affixed this 11th day of April 2022, signed Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President McGurven.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Council President McGurven, seconded by Councilmember Prince, that the proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries, and we do not have anybody to accept the proclamation, but I will say that this is probably one of the more important proclamations we'll make all year. Education and educating our youth is critical and important to our community. Next up, we have a public hearing, moratorium on warehouse and distribution. Paul Hintz.
Good evening, Mayor Pavoni and members of City Council. My name is Paul Hintz. I am a planner with the Department of Community and Economic Development, and I'm here with you tonight for a public hearing on an adopted moratorium on new warehousing and distribution facilities. Emergency Ordinance 6057 was adopted on February 14th of this year and was effective immediately. It established a moratorium on the acceptance of land use applications, building permit applications, and business license applications for warehousing and distribution facilities. State law requires a public hearing for emergency ordinances to be held within 60 days of adoption, and this meeting will satisfy that requirement. Ordinance 6057 will sunset on August 14th of this year unless lifted sooner by City Council or extended pursuant to state law. The ordinance cited that warehousing and distribution facilities are allowed only in the city's industrial zones, which are intended to implement the employment area land use designation of the city's comprehensive plan. Policy L18 of the city's comprehensive plan states in part that employment areas provide a significant economic development and employment base for the city, and that we should maintain a variety and balance of uses through the zoning that promotes the gradual transition of uses on sites with good access and visibility to more intensive commercial and office uses. And warehousing and distribution facilities are land-intensive uses with relatively low numbers of employees, and trucking associated with warehousing and distribution facilities create significant impacts on local roadways and produce high levels of particulate pollution. And the taxes collected for such facilities are insufficient to mitigate the impacts caused by these facilities. And so the city seeks adequate time to complete a work program to determine appropriate zoning development standards and impact fees for warehousing and distribution facilities. The next step of this is to accept public testimony, and that concludes my presentation.
Okay, I believe, do we have any correspondence?
We do not have any correspondence, Mr. Mayor. I believe we do have somebody signed up to speak on this tonight.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, we have one person signed up. That is Dan Mendez. Dan, go ahead.
Here we go. Can I be heard?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. My name's Daniel Mendes. I've been in business for 32 years. I own a drywall and painting company. We started in Renton. We were in Renton for 26 years. And then as we grew, and the place we had would not support us due to the zoning. So we had to move. We couldn't find anything to buy 6 years ago. So we looked around to buy something in Renton. We couldn't find anything in Renton. So we got a warehouse in Tukwila. We've been there the last 6 years. And then the last 3 years, we've been looking to buy, specifically back in Renton. And so I looked and looked and looked. And finally, after a 3-year search, we found in October, we found property on Grady Way. I spent $1,450,000 to buy the place after we did our due diligence, made sure it was zoned properly, et cetera, and we closed on December 28th of last year. It's a 27,000 square foot lot with about 1,500 square feet of buildings on it. We worked with an architect, we got survey done, we got into set up a pre-con meeting as soon as we possibly could. And then we found out that meeting got canceled, and we found out that about this ordinance. So I've got about 40 employees, so we're not necessarily a big warehouse I want to do. And in the summer, I employ up to 75 people. So my plan was to maximize the use of the lot, build about 10 to 12,000 square feet of warehouse per se. But my warehouse isn't what you typically think is a warehouse, like an Amazon, and trucks are making deliveries and picking things up. You know, we're drywall supplies and equipment that we use. And so we may get one delivery a month at the most. But typically it's just pickup trucks and cars and that kind of thing. So I was going to build 10,000 square feet of warehouse. I would use about 4,000. I would get 2 or 3 other small businesses to lease the other part, which would again give more employees working there on a 27,000 square foot lot. So I need some warehouse and offices. Again, to store materials and tools. The land behind this is a sewer treatment plant. The land to one side is it's either a city or utility maintenance facility, and the other side is land for like gardening. My development would make it a way more like under policy number 18. It says you want intensive commercial and office uses. I think I would accomplish that because I want to maximize what I'm allowed to build, and I would have offices and a lot of people working there. We don't have trucks associated with our business, like I said, that the next section states. I don't believe it's really warehousing and distribution per what you're looking at, but I don't know what you're looking for per se. In my case, I also disagree because the number of employees I have. I mean, between my company and potentially other companies, I think there's going to be 75 to 100 people working there. The ordinance itself is causing a delay that at minimum will cost me a substantial amount of money. It already has and will continue to as it gets delayed. And perhaps if this goes through, the land will be useless to me. So I spent almost $1.5 million in a 32-year-old business in Renton, which I thought was business friendly, so I really was hoping to stay there, and that's why I bought it. So I'm not sure where the line's drawn, how you differentiate between warehouse and what I would use a facility for. Again, it's not a 100,000 square foot warehouse like an Amazon would have. I just ask you that you think about my situation and not generalize all warehouses per se, because I'd like to move forward, please, as soon as I can with my project. So I thank you for taking the time and listening.
Okay, thank you. Before you hang up, could you leave your information and we'll have staff contact you? Hopefully he's still on the line, if you hear that.
Mr. Mayor, that was the last person I had signed up to speak in advance. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address council regarding the moratorium on warehouse and distribution? If so, please use your computer to raise your hand. And I see no hands raised, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move to close the public hearing.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince, second by Councilmember Albertson, that the public hearing be closed. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. Next up, we have the administrative report.
Good evening. Clean the World's mobile shower unit will be available in Renton every Monday in April from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 300 Rainier Avenue North in Renton. For more information on this service and others provided by the foundation, visit cleantheworldfoundation.org. Construction for the Kennydale Beach Playground Replacement Project will begin Monday, April 11th, today, and be completed before Memorial Day weekend 2022. The project will replace aging equipment and address updated safety requirements for sand play surfaces. Kennydale Beach Park will be closed to the public during construction. Additional information can be found at rentonwa.gov/current projects, and questions may be directed to Betsy Severtson at 425-757-6657. The Emergency Feeding Program, SOS, will be hosting a pop-up lunch event at the Sunset Neighborhood Park, 2680 Sunset Lane Northeast, from 12:30 to 2 p.m. on Tuesday, April 19th. Unsheltered and those residents with food insecurities will receive free, ready-to-eat food and drinks from Amazon Fresh. Personal hygiene kits, cleaning supplies, and socks will also be available. Future pop-up lunch events are scheduled for the first and third Tuesdays of the month. Information about preventative street maintenance, traffic impact projects, and road closures happening this week can be found on our website. All projects are weather permitting, and unless otherwise noted, streets will always remain open. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Next, we will open up the remote audience comment period. It remains the strong intent of the city to have public comment regularly included on our agenda. Each speaker will be given 5 minutes to speak. If you're called upon by a city staff member, the staff member will call the speaker's name and unmute the appropriate microphone, which will send an automatic prompt to the speaker of "You've been unmuted." This is the speaker's key to their turn to speak. Please begin your comments by stating your name, city of residence, and the topic you'll be addressing. Speakers should be able to see a timer on the screen, and please finish up your comments when you see the time is close to expiring. I know we have a number of residents signed up.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the first person to speak is Ernesto Podaca. Ernesto, go ahead.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ernesto.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. This is in reference to a project that is at the pre-application stage. It's in the planning department. It's PE 22-0089. And it is the battery storage facility that they want to put in by Maple Valley Glen, basically right behind my house. And they want to, I don't have an objection to the battery storage facility. I think it's a great idea. My objection to this project is that they're putting it in a area that is zone resource conservation, which is not the intended use of that zoning. So I do have some issues with that. As you're probably well aware, this area is, the resource conservation areas is really made to be a buffer between residential and more intensive uses, or area, or for smaller housing developments that require a larger land or somewhat agricultural uses, or to be a buffer between other uses and geological hazards. We all know that along the Maple Valley Highway that we do get landslides at least once a year that closes that highway down. So we do have concerns that once you remove that vegetation to put such a facility there, that you would take out part of a buffer that would block or help mitigate such land use hazards, and it would end up taking out the battery storage facility, the energy storage facility. The report that was submitted for the pre-application process didn't really address a lot of the issues. It didn't talk about any sort of prehistoric studies that would take place. It talked about historic studies that they would take place, but nothing on the prehistoric issues, concerning the native people who may have used that part of the land for various uses. It didn't really address any sort of contamination mitigation issues that might occur due to battery leakage. They plan on using lithium-ion batteries, which is, we use them in flashlights, and as you know, you leave your battery in too long, it leaks. So they didn't really address those issues, and since we are so close to the Cedar River, the area is a watershed. This could raise some problems should those batteries leak, and there's no acceptable or code compliant mitigation for such leakage. So I have a problem with that. And then of course it would seep into the Cedar River and ergo into Lake Washington, which, we still have fish that we cannot eat in Lake Washington because, it's been a slow process to clean up Lake Washington. So there are a bunch of issues that such a more industrial-based project would have being placed on something that's an RC usage. I find it difficult to understand why they would put it there, run a line across the Cedar River and up to the Talbot Hill substation, which is what their intent is. That Talbot Hill substation does have a lot of vacant land, which they could strategically place such a energy storage unit in. And I think that a little closer to the substation would be more beneficial to them and more beneficial to any sort of environmental issues. My other concern is that visual pollution. I don't have much of a view, but we'd be able to see it. People that live in the Renton Highlands would be able to look down upon it. So I think the siting of this facility hasn't been well thought out by the powers that be. And I would respectfully request that planning takes a really hard look at this and refers back to its own planning ordinances. And you as the council take a hard look and say no to this. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ernesto. And I'd like to say for the record that we have received quite a few correspondence about the Buffalo Energy storage proposal. And I want everybody to know that your concerns to protect the natural environment, protect the quality of life within your neighborhoods, and to ensure public health is held to the highest standard. We genuinely appreciate residents standing up for these values and bringing their concerns to their elected officials. We hear you loud and clear and share your concerns. All the comments and correspondence that the city and I have received will be referred to the Department of Community and Economic Development to review and provide a report back to the City Council as early as next week. And got a number of individuals still signed up. Judith, who's next?
The next person we have is Nancy Quinn. Nancy, go ahead.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council. My name is Nancy Quinn and I live in Renton. My neighbors are going to tell you, as I did last week, about the incredible dangers of this proposal. If you think that lithium-ion batteries are green, you need to do some research. This proposal is an abomination. This week, I will explain my intentions. I am committed to preserving our green belt and the natural rural feel to our backyards. This property is zoned at RC, or Resource Conservation. It has a documented wetland at the southeast end, an aquifer over almost half of the parcel, 2 streams that empty into 2 retention ponds that then enter directly into the Cedar River. And what they are proposing to do with the property is totally unacceptable. We have tons of wildlife living there. It's roughly 16 acres of nature. I cannot explain the joy to see the deer come with their new babies each year, or listen to the creepy yips and bays as the coyote pups learn to hunt, or my mixed love and frustration with the adorable bunnies, especially the babies at this time of year. Several of us spoke in our neighborhood today of the joy of the songs of the frogs provide during the night. We will not sacrifice the natural habitat behind our homes or jeopardize our precious Cedar River and the salmon that it nurtures. I do not intend for my children to eat radioactive salmon. I will not rest until this is put to bed permanently. This is the 2022 version of Jonathan Swift's satirical A Modest Proposal. Shame on you, Mr. Merlino, shame on you. Perhaps the landowner would consider donating the property as a wildlife preserve, and then perhaps he could serve the greater good. Mr. Merlino, as I told you on the phone, this property is very precious to us, and I will not see you destroy it. Thank you for your time.
The next person we have is Barbara Phelan. Barbara, go ahead. Barbara, are you there?
Now, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, thank you. My name is Barbara Phelan, and I live in Maple Glen. The choice to place this BESS in the Green Belt above Maplewood Glen is unfortunate and dangerous. Devoting 16 acres to this project is reckless because this area has drainage that flows into the Cedar River and can harm the habitat for fish and other important species that call the river their home. In Maplewood Glen, a modest community of affordable housing with a diverse population and many young families, the risk of ground pollution due to leakage from batteries is too high. This neighborhood is already subjected to an oil and gas line that runs directly under the community playfields and high power lines. The citizens of this community are hardworking and maintain and improve their homes because they believe their community is worth the effort and appreciate the camaraderie of their neighbors. The homes are dependent on Puget Sound Energy for lighting and comfort. They do not deserve the added insult of another unsafe and dangerous battery facility right over their heads. Thank you.
The next person we have is Lori Goldman. Lori, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Hi, my name is Lori, and I just wanted to start off by saying we have lived in our home that borders this project for going on 35 years. We are proud to say that we live in Renton, and Renton has done a great job over the years for the past 3.5 decades that we've lived here. We have voted in great leadership over We have always been ahead of the curve here in Renton. Here tonight, all the negative possibilities that could happen with a battery energy storage system, or BESS. With a battery energy storage system being built right in our backyard, when I say all of us in our backyard, I mean Renton. That is a natural aquifer for Renton, and it flows into the Cedar River. And if there is any leakage of this battery stuff, you know, what are we doing to our salmon? Renton is a proud city to protect the salmon. The wildlife in this backyard is amazing, just like the previous speaker said. The proposed site has birds, amphibians, and animals like mallard ducks, woodpeckers, owls, blue herons, bald eagles, deers, possums, raccoons, frogs, toads, salamanders, hawks. And this has been for 35 years. Why would we damage this land? You know, maybe the person who owns this land could dedicate it to a wildlife reserve. This is a wetland area that was done, I believe, in 1992, and it still is exactly the same. The hill comes down behind us. The water from the natural spring underground that flows down this little river or creek, it has never stopped flowing in 35 years. So are we going to damage and contaminate the land that we love? And the city of Renton is known for caring for their parks. They have the most beautiful parks in areas. It would just make me so sad. I've raised my children here, my grandchildren, and the neighborhood we live in is the lower to medium income. However, they're very proud people. You know, and we do already have something that's hazardous running through our property, which is the natural gas line. And that's maintained very well. And we haven't had any hiccups with it. Thank God. The city of Renton is a great place to live. And I don't want to live anywhere else. And it would just sadden me to ruin this and take the risk of people's lives being hurt, damaged by this, by leakage. The wildlife, they would be all gone. You know, what's just for this storage unit, there's got to be a better spot closer to Talbot to place something like this so you're not running through the river and into our own aquifer here in Renton. That's all I have to say. I hope you really take it into consideration.
The next person we have to speak is Nikki Robinson. Nikki, go ahead.
Good evening, council members, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I'm sure you I'm sure you're not tired of, but you've been inundated with letters from me, and we appreciate your patience and interest in this situation. I won't go into details that have already been voiced many times, and that are also included and repeated again in the letters that I've sent. But obviously this is to do with the Bufflehead energy storage pre-application with the city. And one of the concerns we have is that considering the restrictions that are documented in the land use plan on what can actually be built on or the land use in this area, regardless of that, the groups involved, Puget Sound Energy, Bufflehead Energy Storage, and the owner of the property feel that they have enough influence and authority somehow to get this application, this pre-application to go to another level and possibly to the application process. So, and considering the restrictions on this property, that is very concerning and it's very surprising. As already mentioned in many documents, that this kind of proposal would destroy the hydrology of this area. It would also create an environment for pollutants and runoff. I imagine and believe that they will create a concrete platform that will cover 16 acres to house this facility. And that's one of the many issues of concern involved this particular area. I have looked up some of the land use allowed, and it goes through various categories, including animal and related uses, residential uses, parks, religious institutions, vehicle related, which aren't allowed, and then it goes down to industrial, which is not allowed. And I'm sure you're familiar perhaps with the land use tables, and that's under RCW 4-2-050 in the RCW codes. And when it comes down to utilities, it's very clear about, in reference to electrical power generation, that this is not allowed. So again, repeating our concerns and worries about why these very powerful organizations would think that it's appropriate to file a application with the city. So I'm not sure how much more I need to repeat about the concerns about this particular wildlife corridor, and you know, in relation to its importance in am I out of time? Oh, its importance in its contribution as it is to climate change, with the trees and absorbing carbon dioxide, et cetera, and the sensitive and critical areas here. So that's already all been detailed to you in the letters. So I do appreciate your time to bring all this to attention to you. So even though at the beginning, Mr. Mayor, when you commented that you would be referring the letters to the planning department, I think it's very important for all members of the city, including the council, even though you're not actively involved in this, to understand and be knowledgeable about what is going on. So thank you very much for your time. Have a good evening.
The next person we have is Lizette Gillette. Lizette, go ahead.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for having us. My name is Lizette Gillette, and I'm a resident of the Maplewood Glen community in Renton. Aside from echoing what my neighbors have said about how this project will affect our wetlands and our green belt and all our nature that's back here, I also want to point out that this community is a very diverse community. We're multi-generational, multicultural, multi-ethnic community. We are proud of our humble community. We're also very concerned about the proposed Bufflehead Energy Storage Project. We also do not want this project being built in our neighborhood. This large-scale lithium-ion battery storage system is far from being green or safe. Lithium is highly reactive, and fires involving lithium-ion batteries are very difficult to extinguish once thermal runaway has occurred. And honestly, a quick Google search on this will show you this. And do our fire departments have training to put these chemical fires on? How often will they be receiving training? Who's going to pay for that? These are things that we're all thinking about also. Explosions and losses have been seen the world over. In South Korea, between 2017 and 2019, only 2 years, there were 23 major battery storage facility fires. In Europe, there were 2 huge lithium-ion fires, one in Belgium in 2017, and a second in Liverpool in 2020. Here in the US, a lithium-ion battery storage facility caught on fire and killed 2 firefighters. That facility had only been open for 1 year. So just things to keep in mind as this is coming up. The proposed location for this lithium-ion battery storage facility, if approved, would sit directly behind the property lines of residents on Southeast 5th Street. What'll happen to us when, not if, a thermal runaway happens? Because recent history, as I've said here, shows that this will happen. We're not crying wolf here. We're letting you know that this is not safe. It's not good to be put on our neighborhood. It's not okay. This project is a pure convenience for PSE and Goldfinch Energy Storage. Their convenience is the proximity to the Talbot Hills substation, the existing roads. It's a service road, by the way. Their proximity to the existing transmission lines and electrical infrastructure, that it's surrounded by open space and low density residential use, which is us. Apparently, we don't matter, but just in case they're listening, let's take into consideration that Liberty Ridge is right above us. And if there were to be an explosion, that ridge would come down. And there would be a landslide that's already known. Was it January 6th, we had one that fell right into our road? It's not okay. As someone that would be greatly affected by this, I ask you to deny the location, put it in a safer place, in a safer area, away from residents, away from neighborhoods, away from our water streams. And I'll just remind you that you took an oath to serve the needs of our community. And this community is asking you not to approve the proposed site of the Bufflehead Energy Storage Project. So thank you very much for your time and your consideration.
The next person we have is Azure Allender. Azure, go ahead.
Hello. Thank you for taking the time to listen to all of us this evening. My name is Azure Allender, and I am a proud homeowner in the city of Renton, once again along Southeast 5th Street. I'm 46 years old and I've lived in 26 different places. I've been practically a gypsy. And to be able to put down my roots in such a humble, beautiful community, I consider myself thoroughly blessed, and I am very grateful for it. So, of course, 2 weeks ago when I saw the drones being flown, saw the surveyors, started talking to my neighbors, we were all quickly aware of the Bufflehead Energy Storage Project, and being the fact that you obviously are hearing from my wonderful group of neighbors, that we became knowledgeable of the 22-page document. And I have to say it, yes, I did print it out. But I stopped reading it once I read on page 3, under the listed species, that no habitat is present to support bull trout breeding or migration because no streams are located on the project site. That is complete and utter falsehood. As you are very well aware, there are 2 documented streams within this land parcel. And yes, I will echo all of the neighbors by saying it is an aquifer for not only us, but it's an aquifer for the entire city of Renton. And if and when, stressed on when, any damage or any leakage or explosions, anything would occur, this is something that cannot be taken back. We are literally across the street from the Cedar River, one of the cleanest rivers within our state. They have the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife have guided educational tours to view the salmon runs every single year on the metal bridge that was just built not too long ago within the Riverview Park. These are guided tours to see the salmon that come back each and every year to our beautiful, clean Cedar River. We cannot take back damage once it's done. An ounce of prevention equals pound of cure. And I, along with all of my neighbors, can say we are very grateful that we learned of this in the pre-application meeting. We're sincerely hoping and praying and knocking on wood that you please take in consideration and find another location for this project. I'm all for green energy, but I will say I agree that this is as far from green as coal. It makes absolutely no sense. That's a story for another day. All I can do is protest and say that myself, Azure Dean, and Neen Allender, I'm against this project, and I know damn well that the whole street is against this project. 50-foot easement to a view of hellish white boxes that will create havoc to our zoned land that's for resource conservation, and industry is not allowed. I would like to echo what Nikki said, that the fact that they even got this far, knowing how that land is zoned, that's scary. That's very, very scary. And in closing, I just want to state that after the Oso tragedy, I would imagine that the city of Renton, King County, and the state of Washington would put in consideration this is not an area we want to mess with. January 6th, close down 169, and it will only close down again. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
There were 3 others that signed up to speak tonight. However, I don't see them in attendance. They are Z Tang, John Ramsey, and Aaron Velasquez. And that is all I have.
All right. Well, first I want to thank all of the residents that signed up to speak on this topic. It's important when things like this occur in a city that we hear from the residents, and we obviously hear your input loud and clear. That's why staff is going to be bringing back a report to council as soon as next week, because I know this isn't something you want to sit around and worry about. So we're on to consent agenda. We have 3 items. Are there any items that council would like to vote for separate consideration? Yes, Council President.
Seeing that, I move the council approve the consent agenda as published.
Second. It's been moved by Council President McGurven, second by Councilman Prince, that the consent agenda be approved as published. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Okay, motion carries. We're on on to unfinished business. Council President McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the committee of the whole has a committee report.
Okay, Committee of the Whole Committee Report. This is revised 2022 Council Committee assignments and dates. As discussed at the 2022 Council Retreat, the Committee of the Whole recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to update the frequency of the committee meetings as follows. Community Services, first Monday, 4 p.m. This is Councilmember Rivera, Chair, O'Halloran, Vice Chair, Albertson, Member. Finance, second and fourth Mondays at 4 p.m. Councilmember O'Halloran, Chair, Perez, Vice Chair, Vaughn, Member. Planning and Development Committee, second and fourth Mondays at 5 p.m. Councilmember Prince, Chair, Albertson, Vice Chair, and Perez, Member. Public Safety, third Monday at 4 p.m. This is Councilmember Perez, Chair, Vaughn, Vice Chair, and Prince, Member. Transportation, first and third Mondays at 5 p.m. Vaughn, Chair, Councilmember Vaughn, Chair, Ed Prince, Vice Chair, and Councilmember Rivera, Member. And finally, Utilities Committee, first and third Mondays at 3 p.m. This is Councilmember Alverson, Chair, Rivera, Vice Chair, and O'Halloran, Member.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Council President McGurven.
Yes, that was a lot of words to say. We're moving everything back to Monday, and I will go ahead and move that the council concur with the committee of the whole report.
Second.
Been moved by Council President McGurven, second by Councilmember Prince, that Committee of the Whole report be approved. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Councilmember Prince.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the planning and development committee has a few reports.
Okay, the first Planning and Development Committee report is regarding the Liberty Square Extended Multifamily Housing Property Tax Exemption Agreement. The Planning and Development Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the Liberty Square Extended Multifamily Housing Property Tax Exemption Agreement and authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement.
Mr. Mayor. Yes, Councilmember Prince.
I move that council concur with the planning and development committee reports. Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, second by Councilmember Alverson, that the council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries.
All right, the next report is regarding Title 4, Docket 16, Group E. The Planning and Development Committee concurs with the Staff and Planning Commission recommendation to adopt the 2021 Title 4 Docket Group 16, Group E. The Planning and Development Committee further recommends that ordinances for the item listed below be prepared and presented for first reading when it's complete, and that is Docket 207, Administrative Code Interpretations.
Councilmember Prince.
I move that the council concur with the planning and development committee report. Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, second by Councilmember Alverson. The council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. All right, thank you. Councilmember Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Councilmember Van.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Alverson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Utilities Committee has one committee report.
Okay. The Utilities Committee report is regarding an application resolution for the Panther Creek Fish Passage Barrier Removal at Talbot Road South project. The Utilities Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the applicant resolution authorization for the Brian Abbott Fish Barrier Removal Board grant application, which will provide $412,500 in grant funds for the Panther Creek Fish Barrier Removal Project. The city matches $137,500.
Councilmember Alverson.
I move that council concur with the Utilities Committee report.
Second. It's been moved by Councilmember Alverson, seconded by Councilmember Rivera. The council concur with the Utility Committee reports. Discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
Okay.
Councilmember Rivera.
No unfinished business.
And Councilmember Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee has 4 committee reports this evening.
Okay, the first report is regarding vouchers. The Finance Committee approves the following payments. Accounts payable, total payment of $12,253,752.69 for a number of vouchers and payroll withholding vouchers and 7 wire transfers. And 2, payroll, a total payment of $1,571,620.89 for payroll vouchers, including 603 direct deposits and 12 checks. This is the March 1st through 15th pay period.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Halloran.
I move the council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Perez. The council concur with the Finance Committee reports. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the next report is regarding a lease to the Renton Sailing Club. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the agreement with Renton Sailing Club in the amount of $5,318.04 for a 5-year lease for the exclusive use of the floating dock and 5 moorings at Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Halloran.
I move the council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Perez, that the council concur with the Finance Committee report. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Right, the next report is regarding the award of a construction contract for the Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park Trestle Bridge Replacement Project. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the construction contract with American Construction Company Incorporated in the amount of $1,625,000 for the Jean Coulon Memorial Beach Park Trestle Bridge Replacement. The funding source is the Coulon Trestle Bridge bond account, which will have a sufficient balance for the construction phase of the project following the 2022 carry-forward budget adjustment described below, including the construction contract, both base bid and alternate 1, a 15% construction contingency, sales tax, material testing and special inspections, permitting, and the remaining encumbered engineering contract balance. The project budget includes park bond funds and 2020 and 2021 budget adjustments, as well as $500,000 in federal grant funding. In addition, the following budget adjustments are included in the 2022 carry-forward budget adjustment. Transfer in $32,208.28 from the 2019 King County Prop 1 levy account. Transfer in $17,840 from deferred park signage 2022 budget. Transfer in $100,000 from deferred Coulon Swim Beach 2022 budget, sorry. Transfer in $102,785.56 in bond funds from Philip Arnold Park budget, and transfer in $99,527 in bond funds from the Kiwanis Park budget. The committee further recommends that budget for the project be approved and should be adjusted as described, and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the contract.
Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Halloran.
Thank you, Jason. I move the council concur with the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember O'Halloran, second by Councilmember Perez. The council concur with the Finance Committee reports. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
All right, the final report is regarding the award of a construction contract for the Kiwanis Parks Improvements project. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to approve the construction contract with Terra Dynamics Incorporated in the amount of $4,780,000 for the Kiwanis Park improvements. The funding source is from the Kiwanis Park Site Improvement Bond account, which has a sufficient balance for the construction phase of the project, including this construction contract, both the base bid and alternate 1, a 15% construction contingency, material testing and special inspections, and the remaining encumbered design contract balance. The 2022 carry-forward budget adjustment includes carrying forward the 2021 year-end fund balance from 2021, and a budget-neutral budget adjustment to transfer out bond funding to the Coulon-Trestle Bridge and Coulon North Waterwalk projects and transfer in Parks Impact Mitigation Fund funding for the aspects of the project that provide new capacity. The committee further recommends that the budget for the project be adjusted as described and that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute the contract.
Councilmember Halloran.
Thank you again, Jason. I move the council concur with the finance committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Halloran, second by Councilmember Perez, that the council concur with the finance committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we have legislation next, and we have 2 resolutions for adoption.
Okay, the first resolution is regarding the fish barrier project spoken about earlier. A resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing the submission of an application for grant funding assistance for a Brian Abbott Fish Barrier Removal Board project to the Recreation and Conservation Funding Board as established by RCW 7795-160 for the Panther Creek Barrier Removal Talbot Road South project.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Alverson.
I move the council adopt the resolution as read.
Second. It's been moved by Councilmember Alverson, second by Councilmember Rivera, that the resolution be adopted as read. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Okay, the final resolution is regarding our virtual meetings and hearings. A resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, replacing resolution number 4410, providing for meetings and public hearings of the City Council, council committees, all city boards and commissions, and hearing examiner hearings to be held electronically due to the COVID-19 public health emergency, and accommodating some limited and safe physical gathering of attendees of virtually held meetings.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President McGurven.
yes, I'm excited to be back in this hybrid format and enthusiastically move approval of the resolution as read.
Second. It's been moved by Council President McGurven, second by Councilmember Prince, that the resolution be adopted as read. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, on to new business. Council President McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just need to announce that on Monday, April 18th, we are going to cancel the committee of the whole, but the regular council will be meeting at 7 p.m. Via video conference, particularly our new hybrid format. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Councilor Prince.
No.
Councilmember Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On April 18, 2022, Monday, at 4 p.m., the Public Safety Committee will meet via video conference. There are 2 items on the agenda: RFA briefing and emerging issues in public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Mann.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Transportation Committee will be meeting on April 18, 2022 at 5 p.m. via video conference. We have 1 item on the agenda. It is update section 10-8-1, one-way streets of the Renton Municipal Code. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Alverson.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Rivera.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
And Councilmember Halloran.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
All right, what's the wish of the council?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Prince, second by Council President McGurven, that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, well, great first hybrid meeting, everyone, and we're adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stop.